Hello and welcome to Mastering Microsoft Excel video series. This is video number 52. In this video, we are going to explore the function pivot by. Now, the interesting part we're going to have in this function is, can I use this function as a replacement of my pivot table itself? Now, if you are a pivot table user, you know there are a little bit of limitations and restrictions we have in the pivot table, especially when it comes to groupings or performing any calculations. We need to handle those problems in a different way. And secondly, when you create a lot of pivot tables to get that tables, the working tables for the visuals for your dashboard, the file size is another issue which keeps building up as you create a lot of pivots. So in this video, we're going to target those problems and we're going to use the pivot by approach to create a dashboard, and let's see how the journey is going to be. Without much ado, let's get into the Excel and let's start exploring about this pivot by function. So this is Excel I'm using for creating the dashboard. It's a sales data, and we're going to first start up with the KPI values, the total revenue, total cost, total units sold, the average service rating, average sales rating. When you do this process, you will understand just using the pivot by alone, you cannot do certain things. When it comes to dashboard creation, there are help required from other 365 functions or other Excel functions to get your dashboard requirement done. All right, we are now in the Excel screen. I'm so excited to start our dashboard creation process. The first part of it we're going to create is the KPI section. So let's go ahead and do it. So I have a column called revenue, cost, the unit sold, service rating, sales ratings. I have all those columns. We're going to bring them into the formula. Secondly, the source data, I have converted that into a table format, so it will be easy for us to call them during the formula writing process. So let's go ahead and start this process. So sheet 2 is going to work as a working sheet for us, or the calculation sheet for us to drive the visuals. So I'm not going to take you through end to end of it, but just get the glimpse how the pivot by plays a very, very interesting role when you write formula, and along with other function, when it comes along, it does magics basically. All right, so let's go ahead and calculate the KPI parameters like total revenue, total cost, total units sold, average sales rating, average service rating. So I want to go ahead and check out, can I go ahead and do it here? So if it's a pivot table, we will be dragging and dropping only the revenue column, and then that gets done. And you can connect that to slicer or timeline. It's going to work for you. But how do I get that done in pivot by? So let's go ahead and write pivot by. So it's asking, would you like to put anything on the row? No. Would you like to put anything on the column fields? No. Would you like to put anything on the value section? Yes. Which field? In table, I want to put the revenue. And what would you like to do on that column? We want to do the sum, and that's what we want to achieve. And there you go. Now, likewise, I can copy and paste this formula for the next column. And I'm going to change, instead of revenue, I'm going to change that to cost. That's my cost. Let's go to total units sold. Put it. And instead of revenue, we're going to have that as units sold. Now, how about average sales rating? So let's go ahead and paste this, and here we're going to say sales rating, and we don't need the sum function, we need the average. There we got the average sales rating, and we will go ahead and get it done for the service rating as well. There we go. Sorry. Service rating, and what are we expecting is not sum, we need average as a summarization. That's it. So we got our KPI sections calculated. The next section of my dashboard is going to be the top 3 performing customer category. Okay, so that's what I want to achieve right now. So let's go and see how it can give us. So first I want to categorize or summarize by customer category. So table 1, and I want to present it row wise customer category, comma. Then the column fields, I don't want anything. Then the value section is going to be my revenue. Okay. And the function I want to do is the sum functions. I want to close the braces, hit the enter. We got all these now, but we need only the top 3. So that means these values have to be sorted, and we don't need the total. And once we sorted it in descending order by revenue, and we need to take only the first 3 rows, which is containing the top 3 section. Yeah. So let's go ahead and correct this. So let's put this heading top 3 contributing customer category. Right. So let's go ahead and correct our formula. So after the sum function, I'm going to say, hey, don't need header because I've already keyed in the header. Would you like the totals? I don't need the totals at all. Comma. Now comes the row sort order. So it's asking, would you like to sort the items which you have listed in the row? Well, absolutely. I want to sort this table based on the revenue, which is in the second column, but in descending order. If I have 2 columns, I want to sort this table by second column in descending order. So when I say simply 2, it's going to sort this data by second column in ascending order. So if I hit enter, you can see it's sorted by ascending order. But if I want it in descending order, I have to put it as -2 so that it presents it in descending order. So now you can see in descending order we got it. But this time we don't need the entire table, we need only the top 3. So we're gonna go here and say I need only the first 3. Again, I can use other functions like choose rows, I can use functions like index, but I'm going to use a very easier function which is called take, because I want to take only 3 rows from this array. So let's close, hit enter. We got the first 3 rows. We're going to use this to replicate the same idea wherever you are going to have a top and bottom contributors on your dashboard. So now we have to calculate year-wise and month-wise revenue contribution. That's the next section of our dashboard. But this layout is going to be like a matrix layout. Row-wise, we're going to have the years, and column-wise, we're going to have the months. And we want to show the revenue not as the actual value, in terms of percentage, how much they are contributing. So each month in each year, how much it has contributed. So we need to present that kind of layout right now for the dashboard. So now how do I get this done? So if it's a pivot table, probably we need to do the grouping on the date column, and then we need to use show value as a percentage of row total to get that done. We're going to do all those in the pivot by function right now. So let's go ahead and write that and get it done for us. So equal to pivot by. The first section, what we want is a year-wise, but I don't have a specific column for year or month in my data. I have a column called sale date. I have to utilize that column and get this done. So look at the way I'm going to get this completed. So year of table 1 and sale date. That's going to extract the year and give it to us in the row wise. And now let's go ahead and get the months, the column section. But the month have to be coming in month name. So let's put this in this way. We want to use the say date column again, sale date column, and we want to show the month names, and we want to calculate the revenue. So as the value section, comma, but the functionality is not the total. We want to show percentage of row total. Absolutely, there's an option called percent of. We're going to take that, comma. Next one, we don't need the header, so we're going to say 0. Do you need the grand total or subtotals? I don't need it because we are calculating a percentage distribution, so totals will mislead the person who's looking at our data. So I'm going to say no totals anywhere, comma. And row sort order, well, I don't want to disturb the sorting order. Let it be the normal way, like sending order. And column side, would you like to have the totals? I don't want the totals at all. So column sorting order, well, again, it should follow the default like Jan to December. So I'm going to skip that as well. And filter array, am I filtering this data by any field? As of now, no, because we haven't brought the slicer yet. So we're not going to give that field. The last one, are you going to calculate percentage of something? Absolutely, yes. We want to calculate percentage of row totals. So that is the input which you will be giving at the end of it, which is percentage of row total. So when I close the braces and hit enter, we get the output, and we need to put this in percentage format. So let's go ahead and put this into percentage. and we want to see this in 2 decimals, you can see it as perfectly come in. But the problem here is, if you watch closely, way in which the month names are getting presented are not Jan to December. They are basically from April, August. So it's literally following alphabetical sequence. We need this to be sorted in a specific way. But you can get it done with a small trick in the formula, absolutely. But what I want you to find out right now, the way we want to present it has come in. Okay. But only the arrangement of the column is something we need to work, which we will get it done at the end. But see, your pivot by is able to present that information just like your normal pivot does it. So the columns which we have placed on the row wise is the year, column wise is a month name, and the value section is revenue, and show value as the percentage distribution. We have done it on the row total. The rest of the things are all we skip. Now, how do I resolve this problem? So I can go here, instead of using this function, we're going to do a workaround. The workaround is going to be, I'm going to use the date function, and I'm going to give some year, even the years which are as a part of the data are a different year, you can give it. And the month of my sale date, comma 1, close the braces. Now this is going to present the information. If you watch it, it has given to me. Actually, if you see this cell, after writing this formula, if I put this into a date format, the reason why I'm going by this approach, the date function gives the output as a date value, which in turn it's a number. So by default way of ordering the values will be ascending order. So it will follow Jan to December automatically. In order to show this as Jan to December in my layout, all I have to do is select these values, what I have it, and build a custom format by going to format cell and custom. Here I can simply type PM and click OK, and that resolves your problem. So the difference what I did in my formula is, instead of using the text function, I've used this particular date function. So when you guys download this file, look at the approach what I've done, but it's not mandatory. You can, if you're okay with the way you're looking at the information, perfectly fine. You can use this table and you can use another function, index and match, to rearrange this table in the way you want to see it. Absolutely, it's possible for you to do it. But I'm just showing you how you can resolve this problem inside the pivot by function itself when you want the arrangement in a specific order, especially when you deal with the dates. Yeah. Okay, we got the table which gives you matrix layout, row-wise years, and the column-wise is the months. And I want to connect this to a slicer, just like you can connect it to a dashboard which you created through the pivot table. Because the biggest advantage when you create dashboard through the pivot tables, you got slicers and timeline which can make your dashboard to go interactive and engaging. Can I connect the slicer to the pivot bar? And absolutely yes. So look at the way we're going to do it. So to handle this part, I'm going to create one pivot table so that I can get the slicer and connect that to my formula. I'm going to select any one of the blank row in my working sheet. I'm going to go to my insert tab and I'm going to say pivot table, from table or ranges, and it's going to ask me which table has the data. Our data is inside a table called table 1. And I want the pivot to be created here. I want to click OK. And that's going to get my pivot table. Here, I want to bring the product category because I want to slice and dice by product category. So I'm going to activate that. We got that. Now we want to have a slicer for it. So I'm going to the Analyze tab and I'm going to choose Insert Slicer. The one which I'm going to pick up is the product category and I'm going to click OK. So we got the slicer. So when I click any one of the item, it's going to pick up here. And this is a cell which I'm highlighting in yellow shade right now. I'm going to connect that to my pivot by formula. So let's check out what is that cell, which is ideally B26. So let's connect this to our pivot by function. So let's handle here first thing. So we go here and right before the last input where we said relative to row total filter array. So I'm going to that section. So table one and the filtering array, the filtering is to be done in product category and it should be equal to the value which is in B26. I'm going to select that cell and hit enter. Watch it. Whatever I select right now, it's going to do that. So these values are changing. Likewise, I'm going to do it for the rest of the sections. I'm going to go to this section, this formula again. I'm going to go to my pivot by function and keep moving until I reach filtered array. So I'm going to say table one, product category, and that should be equal to B26 cell. And that's going to get calculated. Likewise, I can go for this one and I can go to my pivot function and keep navigating up to the filter array and write the expression. This should be equal to product category equal to B26. So like this, I can connect to other KPIs as well. So as and when I click, then things will change. Let me show you here. I bring the slicer up. Let me increase the columns. We can make this slicer to comfortably for us. Okay, here we go. You guys can see what's happening when I click. So we have our values. So we have connected to this one and this one and this one, not the other things. So when I click, you can see the values are changing. Likewise, I can connect to these values also. Absolutely possible. So what I'm trying to show you right now is you can create an end-to-end dashboard without using a lot of pivot table, just one pivot table in order to use the slicer. Rest all can be done with the pivot by function in combination with other 365 functions or other Excel functions. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll meet again with another interesting input in the world of Microsoft Excel. Until then, take care of yourself. Signing off, Darren.